Howdy, gang, and yes, indeed, I am doing a pre-Halloween weekend watch along, and I'm going to be doing one if all goes well tomorrow night as well for Trick or Treat from 1986 in honor of the upcoming Halloween holiday, as well as the fantastic, much anticipated 4K release that dropped yesterday. So so if all goes well, I will be doing a watch along for that. It will be the DVD version. Um, Steve does have a high def version that I've watched the last few years under the Ragman title. But this is the El Cheapo DVD. It's not really very good quality that I bought years and years ago. I think I may have gotten it out of the $5 bin at Walmart like many moons ago. So, but tonight is the WNUF Halloween Special. I love the way Vinegar Syndrome did the packaging for this. It is just absolutely fantastic to me. Very nostalgia driven. It looks like even there's a Halloween sucker stuck on the back of this thing. And it looks like, anybody remember those old VHS tapes that we used to record all our favorite shows and movies on? This DVD, the outer cover, the slip cover, actually looks like that. It even looks like on the side that it's a rather skinny VHS tape that says WNUF Halloween Special. And it does indeed have a pumpkin and bat sticker on it. But if you slide the disc out, and for those of you that have seen me show this off before, oh, not Vinegar Syndrome, I'm sorry. Vinegar Syndrome may have had some of these, but TerrorVision, sorry, TerrorVision. TerrorVision actually got this together and released it. And there is the inner cover for the WNUF Halloween Special that's got the kid sitting in front of the TV with his mouth open, and he's still in his Halloween costume. He must have been a devil for Halloween. So this came out in 2013, but it's supposed to take place on October 31st, Halloween of 1987. And I think they did a really good job of making it look like it was 87. And there's my dear husband there who says, wow. And that looks like a purple Santa Claus. that emoji looks like a purple Santa Claus there. Steve introduced me to this movie, and I actually thought, I don't know if Steve remembers, but I actually thought that it was something that had slipped under my radar that actually came out in 87. Steve's like, no, this was a newer thing that came out. Finger Red #1. Yes, 2013. It did come out in 2013, and I believe that's when me and Steve watched it for the first time. So we're going to get to that here in just a second. But I just want to go over a few things, do a few housekeeping things. If anybody comes in here that would like to come on here and be live on the stream with me during this watch along, you are welcome to, as long as you can behave. And by behave, I think everybody knows what I mean by that. So I almost have come to the point where I feel like I got to do background checks on people before I let them on here, unless I already know them. I invited Chris and Candace, but they are very, very busy with different things right now, so they may not be able to come on. And I invited Steve on, but he was, bless his heart, he was tired. So he is probably going to be in the chat only with me tonight. But if I have anybody stop by that would like to join me for this, you can watch this on Shudder if you don't have your own copy of it. You can watch it on Shudder and AMC Plus, I believe, as well. What's the 99 cents for, Steve? I don't know. Maybe I said something and he was responding to that. Do you mean you'll come on here for 99 cents? Or can I do a background check for 99 cents? I don't know. I don't even know what I said that he might be responding to that too. But most of you know that, are regulars that come into my live streams and watch my videos. I know that I kind of took the week off, with the exception of me and Candace doing a Halloween special last night, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, for those of you that were able to attend. But for those of you that wanted to watch it on the replay, and there have been several watches on the replay, which I was happy to notice. Thank you, guys and gals, for continuing to watch it. I think it's got over 100 views now, 130 something views now. And it's got several likes, 8 or 9 likes on there. And that really, that makes me happy. It means that even if I take a break, then the people that are going to watch this stuff are still going to watch it when I put the stuff out. Jack is joining me. He's over here. Right there. He's joining me for this watch along tonight. I also have the Friday the 13th revolving light. Hopefully you guys and gals can see some of those images. But most of you are probably going to be watching the movie tonight. Apologies that I can't stream it live on YouTube, or probably my stream will get halted. So we don't want that. So hopefully those of you that want to watch along with it tonight, if you have not seen this, be aware that I may give things away, because this is a movie that I've seen several times. Okay. And it does look like an old VHS tape and all that stuff. And the nostalgia comes a lot from these commercials that were created that look like they were ripped right from my television, a lot of them, about 1987. So I really, really enjoyed that. Now, when we watch the movie, beware that it's like somebody is watching a VHS tape that's been recorded, and they're fast forwarding through some of the commercials and things. So don't think, if you're watching along with me, that there's something wrong. That's part of the vibe that's going on in this film. And I'm slowly losing people. I guess I blab too much. I don't know. Or they're just coming in here to say, oh, what's Dana doing this on, and all that, and they're not interested, and so they leave. So I call that drive-by viewers. But that's not a bad thing. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they won't. I think I just got a message from somebody. Let's see. Oh, Candace sent me a voice message. So, unfortunately, I can't listen to that right now because we're in the middle of a watch along. We're getting ready to do a watch along, but never fear. If Candace is watching this, I will get back to her as soon as I possibly can. So, hopefully I'll have some things coming up in the coming week. I'll probably do a little Halloween special on Halloween. Right now, I don't know if they're going to have trick-or-treat hours on Halloween, or they're going to have to do it another day, because I don't know if it's going to storm, if it's not going to storm, if it's going to rain, if it's not going to rain. I just don't know. My Echo Amazon devices around the house say that could be strong storms on Halloween. I'm like, well, that's just par for the course, ain't it? And it's been so bloody hot around these parts. And it feels nice tonight, though. It feels like fall tonight. So, I don't know if the trick or treaters are going to be coming on Thursday on Halloween, if they're going to be coming on Friday. It's usually up to the neighborhoods to, a few years back when it just rained all day long, they rescheduled trick or treat hours. They can't reschedule Halloween, but they reschedule trick or treat hours until like the day after Halloween or the day before. So if they do it the day after Halloween on Friday, I'll be able to get off work in plenty of time. But I've already asked off for Halloween, so I'm not really going to be able to ask off for like Wednesday or something like that if they decide to do it on Wednesday. I'm hoping if they change it, they decide to do it on Friday. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um, I'll let everybody know that is watching along. I am 17 seconds in on my Blu-ray. It's got the blue, what you used to see as not a blue screen of death, but just a blue screen before a video, would start, and it's got play up on the screen. So I'll give everybody a minute or two that's going to be watching along um, to get get theirs queued up where they need to go or need to be. I can't even talk tonight. I've not had any alcohol or anything, just this energy drink. But I'm going to take myself out of the stream for just a second. Hopefully, I won't lose everybody, and hopefully, as we go along on this watch along, and I'll be back in a minute or two, and we'll go ahead. I'll be back at least by 8:15 in a couple of minutes, and we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, gang. And I did. I lost everybody when I went away. I was hoping I wouldn't, but I am back, and I'm gonna, if everybody's watching the movie, they're probably not gonna be seeing this, but I'm gonna put my Happy Halloween, like and subscribe at least on there for a little bit, and hopefully we'll get some more people back in here. But I'm going to do the countdown, the 3, 2, 1, and then everybody that's watching along, if anybody is watching along, you can press play on your respective copy at the same time I hit play. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, press play, and we're going. And you can see that we're seeing a commercial, a real quick commercial for STDs. So you can see what I was talking about. It's as if someone is fast forwarding through these commercials because they're like, we don't want to watch these commercials. We want to get to the WNUF Halloween Special. Now, if you do own this Blu-ray, or you end up getting a copy of it, there is a way that you can watch all the commercials without someone seeming to fast forward. Now we're getting to the actual WNUF Halloween Special, and you've got the newscasters there, one dressed as Dracula and one dressed as a witch, and they're going to be talking about different things Halloween related. And we're finding out that a religious organization, of course, is against Halloween. There's controversy going on, and one of their reporters, Frank Stewart, is actually going to a local haunted house in order to see if there really are ghosts there, where a young man killed his parents many years ago. So here's a pumpkin commercial. This reminded me a lot of commercials when I was growing up, that you would see in fall around Halloween time. Some of you may look at this and say, this is just corny, but if you grew up when I grew up, like I was an 80s kid. I was born in 1976. So a lot of the stuff that I remember growing up and watching on television came from the 80s, and on into the 90s. Now, some of you guys and gals were born in the 80s, and more of your stuff were remembrances of either late 90s or late 80s into the 90s, right? And then there are some of you that are, 2000s kids and later, so, or well, technically we're still in the 2000s, but you were born in the 2000s or whatever. And now, if you were born in 2000, this year you would be 24 years old. So you would be a 2000s kid, so this stuff may not resonate as much with you as it does 80s and 90s kids. So we're seeing again a commercial that very reminiscent of commercials that I grew up with at this time of the year for a Halloween makeup kit. And they use the word bodacious. And believe it or not, newscasts, some people may think this is over the top if they're watching along with this. Like, this is so over the top. This is so generic. But I'll tell you, our newscasts were a lot like this growing up. So, like local newscasts and stuff. So, this I thought was a a little, over the top. But we did have like safety things at Halloween time, always safety things. And some of this stuff is regular stuff, don't be unattended. Have your parents inspect all your treats before you eat them. But he says that way you're not accidentally eating a razor blade or something with the AIDS virus. Um, and then he says, "Happy Halloween, kids! Enjoy yourself." Um, and those with a sharp eye will notice that that's Officer Bookwalter, which J.R. Bookwalter did a lot of like low budget horror movies. And here we have a local dentist who is trying to get kids to protect their teeth from all that Halloween candy. And he is offering cash for candy. You bring in all your Halloween candy, and this dentist will give you money for your candy. And he's saying, I'm not against Halloween or candy, but it just needs to be in moderation, which would be, I think, a lot of dentists' stance on, candy, sugary stuff. And then we have the very sad story, and this is kind of over the top too, of a boy, a young child who was, and this is supposed to be his mother, um, who dressed as a army person, and went to this guy's house and was shot because he was having a flashback from the war. Um, so he supposedly mistook the child for a Vietnamese soldier. So there may be some of you that are, as you're watching this, you may say, "Well, this is lousy," Dana. But this has become one of my favorite things to watch around in the Halloween season. Um, and a lot of it, like I said, may be because of nostalgia. That nostalgia factor. It just, even though this deals with some gruesome subject matter, it also pulls those nostalgia levers too. And here we have another commercial about a carving kit. Everybody remembers those jack o' lantern carving kits you could get and probably can still get. I no longer carve my pumpkins, but I do have a ceramic one that I put a light in every Halloween out on the porch. But I also buy a pumpkin so I can have a real pumpkin and have it sitting out on the porch. But in the last few years, the the squirrels have taken to attacking my pumpkins. So I hate to, and I hope I'm not poisoning the squirrels. But I put some clear coat on my pumpkin to keep the squirrels from like chewing to my pumpkin. So now we're getting the talk of the Weber house. And this is the local haunted house that Frank Stewart is going to go to for this Halloween special. Um, and there is Frank Stewart there. and he's going to have the Burgers, who are a paranormal couple, sort of like the Warrens, like Ed and Lorraine Warren, only, it's a little more goofy and offbeat than the Warrens ever were. I think the Warrens were very serious about their craft. And we're also seeing political ads, which are also rampant at this time of the year, the mudslinging and all that. And they are talking about the governor's race of 87. And you can see that obviously the watcher didn't want to see all this political mumbo jumbo. So they're talking more about Frank Stewart going to the Weber house, a supposedly haunted house. And it's called The Site of the Spirit Board Murders. And I'll do a little plug for Fright Rags while I'm on here. They did not ask me to. I'm just doing that. Fright Rags now has, or hopefully they still have, some shirts with the WNUF stuff. And there's one that I particularly want to get called I Survived the Spirit Board Murders. And it has, it says that on the shirt, and then has a like bloody microphone, like a microphone like Frank Stewart has there. So over 20 years ago, this couple's son was supposed to have murdered them. And evidently he must have been playing with a Ouija board or a spirit board prior to him killing his parents. And so we have a whole bunch of people surrounding Frank Stewart there, and he's going to actually be talking to some of them. And some of it's very funny. Like he talks to one guy, and this one guy suddenly realizes, oh, this is supposed to be real ghosts and stuff like that. And he's freaked out. He's just staring into the camera. So they're talking about, some viewers are disturbed by the content. And there's a group called Harvest that it's a religious organization that believes that Halloween is satanic and inappropriate for Christians. And, me and Candace talked a little bit about that on our Halloween special, how, I specifically had run into that even when I was in middle school, people saying, we don't celebrate Halloween at my house anymore because it's bad. It's evil. It's satanic. It's whatever. So this is a representation, a kind of over the top representation, but a representation nonetheless of those types of organizations, those types of groups. And I'm not going to put anybody down for, their beliefs or anything. But I grew up in a household where Halloween was just a fun holiday, and I still treat it as such. I don't take any stock in believing that it is evil, it's satanic, it's a devil's holiday, whatever. But if that is how you believe and that's how you choose to live your life, I can't say anything about that. If you don't bother me and me trying to celebrate, I'm not going to bother you. Now, if you try to stop me from celebrating in my own home, then we might have a problem. But, as long as you keep your demands to yourself and keep it in your own household. If you don't want to celebrate Halloween, that's fine. Um, but this takes it a step further on the WNUF Halloween Special. This woman looks evil. Um, and that woman in the yellow jacket, earlier, she looked like she was possessed. It looked like she had just white eyes. We're going to find out as the movie goes along that this so called religious group has a very seedy underbelly to it. And you're going to see what I mean if you are indeed watching this and stick with it until the end. Which this again is not a very long film. It's about an hour and 22 minutes long. So it's not, you're not going to have to devote a whole heck of a lot of time to this one. So we got a guy talking about carpet and rugs. It's Phil's Carpet Warehouse. No payment's till spring, folks. And we're getting a commercial about freedom comes with responsibility, about cleaning up the environment and ozone depletion. Everybody remembers that, right? Ozone depletion commercials about it and all that. And that's also a commercial for Hazelwood Oil, but they're evidently trying to do their part. Here's an arcade, I guess, and pizza place. And yeah, it's a video arcade and pizzeria. I remember stuff like that as well back in the 80s. Um, and this is a lot like those made for TV movies and television sitcoms that we would see the advertisements for them. This is for one called Doggone It. Here's a demolition derby commercial from where I'm from. Like, people might say, well, Dana, you are a hick. You are a redneck if you know all about these demolition derbies. But I did. They used to have a demolition derby every year at our fair, our county fair. And here we've got the weatherman. He's dressed up for Halloween. And they evidently have a terrifying forecast. And they're reminding people, of course, don't switch channels and stay tuned for stuff from their sponsors. Here's a commercial for malpractice. You get a lawyer if you've been a victim of malpractice. Evidently, they'll cover you for car accidents, medical malpractice. Call today for a consultation. And here's a commercial for what appears to be a horror film called Sarcophagus, or Sarcophagus, maybe. Here's another commercial for a zoo. But this is actually, bring the zoo to you. It's wanting you to join some kind of video club where you get a video. I don't know if you get it every month or what. Keep in mind, though, this is all made up stuff. There's another commercial for, looks like a Western show. Here's one of these 1-900 Monster, and it's the premier horror hotline. You're supposed to talk directly to demons. Under 18, get permission from your parents. It's $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute. How many of y'all got in trouble for calling those 1-900 lines? So here's another, advertising the Weber House in River Hill Township. The murder was called the Spirit Board Murders. You will see this a lot too, with the lightning bolts coming down and the blood, and you hear a woman scream if you've got the sound going. So here's Frank Stewart again. You can see all the crazy people behind him. He's introducing himself. He says, we're in front of the infamous Weber house where 20 years ago Donald Weber killed his parents after connecting with a demon through a Ouija board or a spirit board. So Frank Stewart's going to go in with the Burgers, the paranormal experts, and supposedly a priest to see if there are any ghostly entities in the house. So his producer Veronica has come out there in a hood and with a chainsaw. Veronica Stanzi. Now I don't know if I told you guys and gals this or not, but there is a second WNUF special, and it has to do with aliens. And Steve and I just watched it, and it's okay, but this one still holds a special place in my heart. I think this is the better of the two releases, but the second one is still worth a watch if you can get a hold of a copy. So he's going to bring on Claire and Louis Berger soon, who I said are like the Warrens. Now, here's one of those you know, I hate to call them crazy, but that's the way they're portrayed. A crazy, religious extremist that came there and grabbed Frank Stewart by the arm. Here's some more commercials and everybody remembers how the commercials, and still yet, commercials will play over and over again at various points in a film that's on TV or a television show or a news special in this case. So we're seeing Phil's Carpet Warehouse commercial again. Again, telling you no payments until spring if you buy now. This is, like Big Brothers, Big Sisters or something. It's a Chase Street Family Center, big guys, small fries. There's something about tax time. That's one thing I don't usually see in the fall months is stuff about taxes. Um, but this is wanting you to get a tax prep program, I guess, in advance of filing your taxes. Look at those computers there, folks. Those are supposed to be 1987 computers. Here's a another commercial for some kind of sci-fi program every Saturday at 9 a.m. Galaxy Pilot and the Laser Brigade. And like I said, for those of you that this isn't really your cup of tea, I will be doing, once again, I'll let everybody know, I will be doing a watch along tomorrow night, probably at 8 o'clock, like this one. Usually I have them at 7, but I'm trying to have them a little bit later to maybe help more people be able to watch them live. But for 1986, Trick or Treat, in honor of both the upcoming Halloween holiday as well as the release of the 4K of Trick or Treat, which it's been much anticipated by a lot of us horror fans. Trick or Treat was one that we grew up with. One I remember renting and watching over and over and over again and watch now. Now here's the guy that I said, he says, somebody died in this house. He says, yeah, that's why we're here. And that guy's all freaked out. So, uh, they're giving a little history that it started in 67. There's a picture of Donald Weber. He discovered a spirit board in the house and started, using it. And it's believed he opened a doorway and the demons or a demon possessed him and caused him to kill his parents. And he supposedly, I think these shots are very creepy here. Supposedly, Donald took an axe and killed his parents. And then Donald called the cops and found him sitting on the curb mumbling about demons. And he was convicted of first degree murder and he was executed in 81. And nobody ever moved back into the house. So it's probably in all reality a house like that would be condemned and nobody should go into it. They're giving us a little more history on the Weber house. An anonymous police officer, he says he's seen a lot of things. Um, he says, but nothing sends chills up his spine like going into that house. He did go into the house from a disturbance call. Somebody called and said there was a disturbance at the house and he saw something paranormal, supposedly, um, where he saw an entity that its head fell off. And, it's kind of like the alien thing. You don't talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to admit that they've seen this. So now we're back to Frank Stewart. He's going to talk to the crowd. There's that freaked out guy dressed as a vampire back there. And that guy was being a smartass and said they ought to call the Ghostbusters. And he's asking people if they believe in ghosts. I don't know. That girl seems to be on something. She's like, yeah, well, no, like friendly kinds, like happy ghosts. This girl's a little ditzy. Maybe a whole lot ditzy. And Frank Stewart, too, appears to be one of those slightly sarcastic newscasters or reporters or whatever you want to call them. As you can see, the way he's interacting with the people, he's kind of, yeah, you're full of crap. Let's move on. He's got that kind of vibe going on with him. Now we're getting another commercial about a petting zoo that they're going to be open every weekend before Thanksgiving. And I do have one of my favorite candies for Halloween. This is the Mellow Cream Pumpkins. Um, so hopefully you guys and gals will not mind if I partake of some of these. Now they're talking about booking a flight on Epsilon Airlines. Heard another commercial for a show called Chicago Lightning, which appears to be I guess, kind of like a buddy cop show. So we've got less than an hour left of this. If you are just tuning in, this is a WNUF Halloween Special watch along in honor of the weekend before Halloween. Tonight we're delving deep into the WNUF Halloween Special. We're getting the introduction to the Burgers, who have their cat, who actually the cat must have some kind of powers as well. Now we're seeing a kind of a little bit over the top, I guess, ad or commercial for the burgers. And I can definitely tell if if any of you out there watching this or watch this on the replay, have read or seen anything on Ed and Lorraine Warren, um, you can definitely see that these are loosely, this couple is loosely based on the Warrens. And I say loosely because, like I said earlier, I believe that the Warrens took their um, job, vocation, whatever you want to call it, very, very seriously. And of course, the WNUF Halloween Special was not meant to be taken seriously. So, Lewisberger there is trying to describe what, what these entities are, what these ghosts are. Sorry, folks, I'm just trying to get comfortable here in this chair. Um, and I apologize, my ear is itching inside. Hopefully, those of you that are still in here following along with me will not go away. Please continue to watch the film. Um, I like to have somebody else on here with me to kind of keep the conversations going um, while I have to, if I have to step away. But unfortunately, that is not the case tonight. So I hope that those of you that are in here will stay in here, and I will be right back. Continue watching the movie if you are watching, and I will be back. Okay, folks, I am back again here. And again, if you're watching along, we are currently on a another one of the commercials. It seems that WNUF TV is sponsoring a Greek festival. It's actually the 18th annual Greek festival. Like I said, this may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I just thought it would be something different to do a watch along on. Um, I have had, people telling, not, they haven't been mean about it, but they have indicated that maybe certain things don't need a watch along for them. The Joe Bob thing was something that people kind of indicated to me that maybe that wasn't a good thing for a watch along, but you know, you never know until you try something, and this may not be something that takes off as far as a watch along for people, but I'm going to keep doing these things and doing different things and trying different things. And if they work, fantastic. If they didn't, well, we tried, and maybe people will get hooked onto them later on. Maybe they will become interested in them later on, or maybe not. So we're back to Frank Stewart and the burgers and their cat. And the house, again, they're saying the house has been vacant for 20 years. Nobody wants to live in it. So Frank Stewart, along with the burgers, is getting ready to enter the house, the Weber house now. And we're going to figure out very soon that something that has been kind of lighthearted and goofy and had these nostalgia driven commercials in them and stuff, it's going to take a really dark turn. And even, this did not scare me. It did not terrify me. But it's kind of unsettling at certain points. And if you're watching along, you'll probably understand that as we get deeper into the actual investigation of the Weber house. So Frankster's trying to get Claire Berger's initial impressions of the house. And clearly Claire is not, happy with what she's feeling in this house. And like I said earlier, it becomes apparent, or I kind of indicated earlier, it becomes apparent that Frank Stewart is like many personalities, many television personalities and stuff. I'm not saying all, but many. They're interested in the bottom line. They're interested in ratings. They're interested in how much money they're going to get for this stuff. And they're not really interested in, the effects on other people or anything like that. They don't want anybody to die. But they're interested in the bottom line. That's what these specific personalities are interested in. And, I can see that in the land of YouTube as well. And I'm not trying to talk about any specific person or any specific channel, but I see parallels between something like this and the world of YouTube, where there are many, many different channels, and everybody is not like this. Please do not think that I am trying to say that all YouTube channels, because I would be talking about myself, and I don't feel like I'm that way. But there is a small percentage out there that it's not about providing entertainment. It's not about providing substance or anything like that. It's about how many subscribers can we get? How many views can we get? And they're willing to do anything and everything. And we're going to see that with Frank Stewart as this goes on. Frank Stewart is willing to do things that maybe he wouldn't normally do, but he's seeing dollar signs, he's seeing high ratings, and he's he's just feeding off of that, and it's making him do bizarre things. It's making him do things that aren't exactly kosher. He ends up, as we're going to see, causing people to get killed. I'm not going to lay it all out there. And I'm not saying YouTube people do that, but they do. Some people do at certain points in times end up, pushing people away from them because they want to be more. Being popular on YouTube is better than having friends, evidently. So, or they want to surround themselves with the wrong people. So, I'll get off that train of thought, but I'm just saying I see parallels between this mass marketed entertainment and the YouTube community, or social media in general. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But I will get back to the movie. We're probably going to see another commercial here. And yes, these are fake commercials. But here's another really old bunch of computers here again. This is Mr. Chip's Computer Learning Center. And you see them playing solitaire and very primitive computer stuff there, and teaching older. There was an older gentleman they were teaching. He didn't look real interested, but here's talking about careers. There was a typewriter, folks. Anybody remember typewriters? And this is telling you how you can get a career working in broadcasting. This is the Broadcasting Institute for Television and Radio. Here's another commercial for a show, I believe. And it says Uncle Jack was drinking something like medicine. So he was drinking vanilla extract. And anybody remembers watching Family Ties? You remember that Tom Hanks was on a few of the Family Ties shows, and he was their uncle. And he had a problem with alcohol, and he was drinking like vanilla extract and stuff like that. So I think that's where they pulled that from. So here's a anti-drug commercials. Playing with drugs is playing with death. We all remember those anti-drug commercials back in the 80s. So we're back to Frank Stewart and the burgers and the priest there. I forget what that priest's name is. No, so the burgers are talking about EVP, which for any of you guys and gals that have watched my paranormal streams, I have actually talked about EVP. So they have set up some recording equipment in the house, and they're going to play some of it back. And you can hear Mr. Berger or Dr. Berger um, saying, is there any spirits in the house that want to communicate? And see, this is how this stuff works for real. Because I have done this, and I'm not an expert, but I have done this and been able to pick up some EVP using a voice recorder and a spirit box. Which a spirit box is basically a radio that you get it between stations where there's white noise, and you turn your voice recorder on and you talk. Is there anyone here? Are there any spirits here that want to communicate? And I have picked up things. Now, whether you believe or you don't believe, that's up to you. But I fully believe in this stuff, in the real stuff. Now, what we're seeing on the WNUF Halloween Special is staged all the way. The Burgers are supposed to be serious investigators in paranormal phenomena within the movie. But we're going to find out there's something hinky going on with this priest, but I don't want to give that away too early. Now they're walking through the house. Hey, Candace. Candace says, "Hey, Dana, I'm watching, but just getting a chance to comment." Yeah, that's cool. I still never did figure out what Steve meant by that 99-cent message. And you love the lights? Well, thank you. This one's Steve's, and I think the Scooby-Doo one that I'd use. I finally figured out how to set it up where you guys can see it really well. And then, of course, I got good old Jack back there, my jack-o'-lantern. This is the Friday the 13th revolving lights, and then I have a Scooby-Doo one as well. I may try to do a Terror Time tea before the night's over. I got a couple of movies I want to talk about for that, so hopefully I'll be able to do that after the watch-along is over. I'm glad to see Candace in here. Even if she can't be live on the stream with me, I do enjoy, her showing up in the chat. Helps keep the chat active. We've had a few people watching, but I know that it's, getting close to Halloween, so people are busy with different things. And the closer it gets to Halloween, the busier we all are. So something has destroyed Dr. Berger's equipment, and he's going ballistic. So they went they went to a commercial. So they're telling people you can go to the Avalon Beach Rentals. Summer might be over. But it doesn't have to be. If you want to go to Avalon Beach Rentals, you can hang out on the beach and stuff, eat good food, and get ready for Christmas with crafts. Contact Garland Travel, and you can experience summer all year round. Now, here, this is a tampon commercial. Sorry, guys, plug your ears. But if you're watching along with this, you're seeing this. They're having there's a tampon commercial, and the girls are, playing tennis, and when she uses the Stacia tampon, she's able to get back into her game. I wish it was that easy, folks. I really do. So here's yet another commercial wiring, sockets, fixtures, and more. And so the American Electric Company, can we get any more generic? But it is the American Electric Company. Now here's a advertisement for late Fridays at the Quarry. All the rock you'll ever need. Fridays at midnight. The biggest hair and the baddest attitudes. We don't really see a lot of this nowadays. Stuff for like rock video or even live shows or anything like that. Not like we used to. Now we're back to the Halloween special again. And Veronica Stanzi, the producer, she's talking. And she said, what you witnessed before the commercial break was unscripted and unplanned. And she says, we're going to get back to it in just a few moments. They're going to have a first ever live on TV seance. But it's going to be a call-in seance. So we can see that the priest and Frank Stewart and the Burgers are all sitting there preparing for this seance. So Claire is starting off by trying to communicate with the spirits in the house. And are opening up for calls. But, I'll be the first to say a live call-in seance, I don't think that'd be too good of an idea because they're getting these crackpots that are calling in. So they're getting a call from Ian. Who says Iron Maiden rules, white line sucks, woo. That's why it's just like if you have your own podcast and you open up phone lines for people to call in. And even when I'm doing, watch alongs or live streams, sometimes people just come in here and say asinine things just because they can. So the same thing is happening here. And Dr. Berger is still upset over his equipment being damaged. He's wanting his money, to replace that. So they've got another caller, Fran. And Fran's wondering if they could contact her dead grandmother and call her a bitch. So again, it doesn't seem like anybody is really taking this call-in live seance seriously. So the priest is going to ask Claire a question. He's asking her, do you know who these spirits are? Do you know what they want? General questions, right? And she's saying they want justice, that they feel betrayed, they've been wronged. Now, they're trying to indicate if this is Paul and Linda Weber, who were the couple that was killed by their son. And Claire says she's not getting a clear vision. There's too much energy. The spirits are conflicting with each other. And she says, I need my cat. I need Shadow. And Shadow has turned up missing about the time that Dr. Berger's equipment got demolished. And a word of warning, folks, sensitive viewers, and I'm a sensitive viewer when it comes to animals, something bad's going to befall Shadow. In fact, probably has befallen Shadow. So just a word of warning there. And, Claire's, admonishing Frank now. She's saying, it's not a joke. This is not meant to be funny, Frank. And they've heard a noise, so, it sounds like their cat, so they're going to go and try to find Shadow in this big old house. So, again, the Halloween special is going to a commercial. There's a third commercial, I believe, for Phil's Carpet Warehouse, and evidently the person watching this doesn't care about Phil's Carpet Warehouse because they fast forwarded it. Here's another advertisement for something called Feel the Steel rock music, Jackson, Dust Devils, Pyro Fire, and I don't think any of these are real groups. If somebody knows and that they are, you can let me know, but I got a funny feeling that they are not. And every month, if you join, they'll send you another one. Now, here's another show, or not a show, but this is for the Cloverland shooting range, where you can go and shoot at targets to your heart's content. There's even lessons for kids, evidently. Yeah, the Cloverland shooting range. Here's another commercial about how our kids are lost, and but there is help, And the culprit, of course, is drugs. Stop drugs, save your children. And again, everybody remembers those anti-drug messages. They were all over television, especially back in the 80s, and I believe into the 90s as well. Candace could maybe back me up on that. So we just saw, for those of you who are watching along, we saw a big mess there that is supposed to be Shadow, unfortunately. And Claire and Lewis are, obviously just upset. They think someone on Frank's crew did this to their beloved cat. And Veronica is apologizing to people for the images they saw. And they're going to have to go away for a little bit. But we're going to see a video about the dentist paying the kids for relinquishing their Halloween candy to him for charity. But he's going to give them money for their candy and hopefully save their teeth in the process. So we saw something so horrifying, the death of Shadow, that, we needed to go to a commercial break. But the person watching this after the fact doesn't want to hear about Dr. Allen and what he's doing. But now we're seeing a commercial for Joey's Pets, which is evidently a local pet store where you can get all kinds of pets. With the tagline, "We had you at Wolf." The Good Standings Bar and Grill, we're getting a commercial for them. They have great drink offers, famous chili cheeseburgers, and Beth Hornberry and Paper Trail, Clothes for Repairs. These are all supposed to be bands. Music night drink specials. Good Standings Bar and Grill, located just past the bowling alley. Um, Here's a Halloween type of commercial for wine coolers. Candace says they were definitely in the 90s too. Dare was huge back when I was a kid. I don't even think they do that anymore. I don't think they do either, Candace. Here's the Demolition Derby commercial again. And yet another commercial for the shops at Chestertown Mall. And Zachary Banyan or whatever is, I guess, going to be at the Arcade and Pizzeria in the Chestertown Mall. And he's evidently stars in one of the shows that they showed. I think it was the sci-fi show. So we're back to Frank Stewart. He's saying this is not a stunt. This is not a Halloween prank. This is grisly evidence that the supernatural is real. That an evil force inside the house killed the Burger's cat, Shadow. And Lewis and Claire have left. So it's now just Frank and the priest there. And he's asking the priest, who looks shell shocked, "Do you believe there are demonic entities in the house?" He says, "Father, is this the work of the devil?" And he said, "I don't know." And we're going to find out something about the priest. I don't want to give it away too soon, but here shortly we're going to figure out something that explains why he's acting so bizarrely here. And evidently, WNUF did an expose on devil worship recently before this Halloween special. So they're talking a little bit about it, and everybody remembers, Satanic Panic and all of that, especially if you grew up in the 80s. And again, folks, for those of you that are sensitive to bad things happen to animals, I cannot recall if that dog that they showed was just, they, found a deceased animal and filmed it, took pictures of it or what. But that looked a little too realistic for me. Just a warning. I may have told you guys and gals, excuse me, that are watching along for the first time about that too late. And for that, I'm sorry. They're showing more pictures. So again, if that upsets you, please turn away. Don't watch that. Because I know that the filmmakers did not really kill animals. It was either special effects or they were able to find deceased animals that weren't completely decomposed and were able to take pictures of them. But this is trying to illustrate that satanic panic craze that occurred mainly in the 80s. I may have lost some people. I had 6 or 7 people in here, and then when it started showing the animal stuff, people dropped out, unfortunately. We've got Ted Sheets, who was a convicted Satan worshiper and murderer. And Gladys Polonia, who they got her listed as a convicted cat killer. I don't take real stuff of animal sacrifice or animal cruelty lightly, but I know that nobody was really killing animals for making this movie. So the priest is still acting shell shocked, and Frank Stewart's wanting him to perform an exorcism. He's like, "Would you do it?" And he says, "As I've said before, in theory, yes, I could. The question is, would I? As I've said before, the church rarely grants such a request." So Father Joseph Matheson is saying, we need to call the police in on this. And he says, "Do you think there are demonic entities in this house?" And he says, "It's possible." And Frank, of course, is trying to push things along. And he says, remember how I said Frank Stewart's bottom line is getting these ratings. So he wants an exorcism on this house. He knows that's going to send the ratings to the roof. He says, "All right, I'll perform an exorcism." And he says, Frank says, "When we come back, Father Matheson is going to perform an exorcism on the house to try to rid it of the demonic spirits." So again, we're going to, as with many real television shows and broadcasts, a lot of commercials are in there just to hype up the suspense factor. So we've got about 10 minutes left in the film, and this is where it's going to really get ratcheted up. This is where I really think it's taken a darker turn. And this is about the point about where they were showing the animals and stuff like that. I was starting to become unnerved. Now, not so unnerved that I cannot watch this film over and over again. I have to take breaks from it, but this is where it becomes really a lot darker and unnerving. So we're getting a commercial for Video World, which is evidently a video rental place, and they say they've got VHS and Beta. Anybody remember Beta? They've got romance, horror, westerns, adults only, and family films, all in the same place, folks. And now we're like the swing trapeze. You can see girls doing exotic dancing, evidently. And then we're talking about, depression and, people are looking for answers for depression. And, unfortunately, it's talking about suicide. But suicide is never the answer, which I certainly agree with. But we all remember these suicide prevention hotlines. These hotlines are still in effect now. And I don't take light of that either, or don't make light of that as well. So we're back to Frank Stewart. And during the commercial break, him and Father Matheson have gone down to the basement of the Weber house, and they are supposedly going to perform an exorcism. excuse me. So we still see that Father Matheson is obviously looking even more and more shell shocked. Excuse me, folks. And so all of a sudden, Father Matheson is saying, I don't think this is a good night for this exorcism. And Frank Stewart's saying, Father, there are evil entities in this house. We got to do something. So he says, all right. And he starts, he opens his Bible and he's starting to do a prayer. And then there's a loud crash from upstairs. And Frank's going to check it out. He's like saying, is somebody there? Him and Father Madison are going upstairs. So they can't get out of the basement. They're locked in the basement. And his producer is asking him, did Lewis and Claire come back, the paranormal experts? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. They're not in here. And Veronica is telling him, we can see somebody moving around in there. So they're going to go back to a commercial break again. And I know that if people had been really watching something, if something like this was really on, everybody would think it was staged, right? From me on down, people would think it was staged. So we have someone, Dr. Blood Ranch is going to be showing the monsters invade the Wax Museum. So they're coming back to the Halloween special. And things are getting pretty tense at this point. Veronica's saying, we can see on the cameras, we can see someone in the house. Veronica's saying, we're about to go back into the house. And their intern, Connor, has agreed to go into the house to see what's going on. So we're seeing Connor with a camera going in to the house. So someone came out and got Connor, I guess. And we also saw Claire's body laying on the floor. Frank is still trying to get out of the basement. And Veronica's saying there's someone upstairs, and we're going where no camera crew has gone before. And he's begging the priest, Father Madison, perform the exorcism. And Veronica's saying, we're calling police, Frank. And Father Madison admits he's not Father Madison. He's not a priest. And he said, I was hired to do this. So he can't really do an exorcism because he's not a real priest. So now the door to the basement is open. Father Matheson is crouched in a corner crying. Well, he's not really Father Matheson, and it looks like someone just attacked Frank. The microphone fell on the floor. They're going to a commercial. So things are getting really, really tense. Like I said, this is where excuse my language, but the shit really hits the fan for this broadcast. So they're saying we're experiencing technical difficulties. So they're desperate now. They're going to the technical difficulties stage. So I remember those technical difficulties things, but never for this reason, but just for regular technical problems. Um, so we have went just to a hissing of tape. Now we're seeing Frank. Frank has obviously been attacked. There is duct tape on his mouth. Someone is saying, uh, don't worry. Here's all your guests, and of course they're dead. They ripped the duct tape off of Frank, and he said, "Y'all are all Looney Tunes," and we're going to find out. Oh no, it's that supposed religious group that has done all this. And she's saying, "Mr. Stewart, you're the devil's mouthpiece. We're going to take care of everything now." So this is gruesome. They literally cut Frank Stewart's tongue out live on camera, a live broadcast. And you can see all the dead people there that they've killed. And we're led to believe that this is also the end of Frank Stewart. He's just going to bleed to death, choking on his own blood where they've cut his tongue out. And then it goes to the fuzz again. And then we see the WNUF news theme. Somebody's fast forwarding again through this. And now we're back to the newscasters again, and it's after Halloween, and they say it's been a rough week for our staff here at WNUF. Local law enforcement are still looking for missing news reporter Frank Stewart and his guest, paranormal experts Claire and Louis Berger, actor Brandon Schuler. The group was last seen in the live televised broadcast that WNUF ran on Halloween night. It all happened at the infamous Weber House in River Hill Township. Now, many viewers and many of the staff here at WNUF itself believe the evening to be a hoax. So, but after 5 days without any answers, nobody's laughing. So, at first they thought it was a hoax. Now they think, those people might be dead. Including Frank Stewart. And then they happily start talking about Christmas being right around the corner. And the tape again goes to fuzz again. The VCR stops. You see the stop on the screen. And we're shortly, going to be at the end of this, which there was the end. And I hope that those of you that watched this whole thing, or even if you came in on the latter part of it, that you enjoyed it, that you got something out of it. Maybe for some of you, there might be some of you that would like to I'm wondering if Steve sent me 99 cents. I don't know. They're showing that as a super chat or something. I'm going to have to ask Steve if he sent me a 99-cent super chat. If he did, bless you, dear. I haven't had a super chat in a while. I'm not saying that that's something that you folks have to do. But I hope in any event that those of you that got to watch along tonight, or for those of you that watch this on the replay, that you have enjoyed watching the WNUF Halloween Special from 2013, watching along with me. If you watch it on the replay, I hope you enjoy this little thing I put together, this little watch along I put together. Be sure, if you can, to tune in for Trick or Treat from 1986. This will also be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday night. So if you feel so compelled, you can join me for the trick or treat watch along. If anybody is interested in joining me for that one live on the stream, please let me know and I will find a way to get the link to you. Now, if you're my friend on Facebook, it'll be real easy. I will send you the link through Facebook Messenger. But if need be, I will put it in the chat in here if anybody comes in later that would like to join me live on the stream for the Trick or Treat from 1986 watch along. I think that one's going to be fun as well. But I want to thank Candace and my husband, my dear husband Steve, who were in here keeping the chat active. I probably should leave this slid over until I'm done. But as I have in my little lower thirds banner, happy Halloween, like and subscribe. If you feel so compelled, if you liked this stream, if you liked the stream for Friday Foolish that me and Candace did last night, if you like any of the entertainment and stuff that I've been putting out, the videos, the live streams, all of that, you can like and subscribe. It costs you nothing to like or subscribe to the channel. Now, if you feel so compelled to join the channel, and you can join the channel for as little as $5 a month, you will get some extra goodies. So be sure to check that out if you like. But to like and subscribe, it costs you absolutely nothing. So if you feel so compelled to do that, please do. If you think some of your friends and family members that are not aware of my channel would like the content that I'm putting out, please share my channel along with your friends and family members that you think would like this content. And so, without going on and on about stuff, I am going to go ahead and tie things up for the night. But again, I want to thank everybody for joining me for this watch along. I hope you guys and gals will come back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the Trick or Treat from 1986 watch along. This is going to be our pre-Halloween bash, okay? Because Halloween's on a Thursday, we can celebrate into the weekend, but I wanted to do something extra special for the weekend before Halloween. So anyway, folks, I'm going to get off of here for the night. I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And by the way, you can pick up that shirt design as well as many others. I do offer custom work as well at deaditesondeck.com. So check it out. Check out all the products that I have on there currently. And for stuff that is forthcoming that will be on there as soon as I can get in gear and get it on the site. That is deaditesondeck.com. And check out what I've got on my horror shop. Or, like I said, if you want some custom work done, I have a form that you can fill out and it will send an email directly to me. Tell me what you're wanting and I will quote you a price. And if we come to an agreement, I will be glad to create this product, whether it's a t-shirt or a mouse pad or a candle or whatever the case may be. Hopefully I'll be able to have hats and tote bags on there really, really soon. So without further ado, without further rambling from this gal, I am out of here for now, and I'll see everybody next time. Have a great night, folks.